And now we're heading over to Parashara verse 9 here.
O Vipra, if there are only benefics in the Kārakāṁśa and the Navamsha of the ascendant, and if they are aspected by benefics, the natives becoming a king is quite certain. If the angles and trions from the Kārakāṁśa are occupied by benefics, and they are devoid of any malefic conjunction, the native will be blessed with wealth and learning. The combination of benefic and malefic here will yield mixed results. O Supreme Brahman, if the Upaketa,
Ketu.
Ketu?
It's misprint, yeah.
Or Upagraha is in his exaltation sign, own sign or friend sign, and is devoid of malefic aspect, the combination indicates the natives
Kaivalya, liberation.
How do you say that?
Kaivalya.
Kaivalya, or emancipation from the cycle of birth and death.
Okay, so right here it's three main things that I see it teaching. It's only benefics in the Kārakāṁśa and the Navamsha of the ascendant. So right here he's saying both. So benefic aspect right there, it creates more Raja Yoga. The person has more blessings. Mm-hmm. If the angles and trines are benefic, angles and trines, the native will have wealth and learning. So right there it's telling us even in the Navamsha, we want angles and trines to be free of malefic influence. And angles and trines in the Navamsha will cause some problems. So that's the big key right there. Specific problems we can go into, but this is Parashara, and Parashara is not telling us the specific problems. That the Guru has to teach. But this is Parashara telling us right here. So when Guruji says that Saturn or malefics in the 4th house hurt health, we see where he's getting that from. The 10th house hurts money, we see where that's coming from. Right here, this verse. And there's more given, but this is the beginning of the understanding. And Ketu's placement and positioning in the Navamsha is very important for whether we get liberation or not. We see Parashara teaching that right here.
When you say angles and trines, is that in the Navamsha Lagna or is that from the Kārakāṁśa? Both. Okay.
Now this is a verse that I'm pretty sure is not in Jaimini.
No, the next one is...
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw that.
Well, Jaimini's a little bit more mixed up. Yeah. We'll get to that. So Parashara, tell us more.
In the event of the Atmakarka planet falling in the divisions of the Moon, Mars, or Venus, the native will be traverser of others' wives. The learned and wise should understand contrary results if the situation is reversed.
Okay. Jaimini goes into this in a little bit, so we'll go into that a little bit later, that verse. And let's move to the next verse of Parashara. Mm-hmm. And here we're back on page with Jaimini.
Effects of planets in the Kārakāṁśas.
Mm-hmm. And go verse for verse, because we'll go back and forth with Jaimini.
O Brahman, if the sun is in the Kārakāṁśa, the native will be engaged in royal assignments or government assignments.
Okay.
The sun in Swamsha is Swamsha.
Mm-hmm.
The sun in Swamsha makes the native a keen government political worker and good at social service.
Okay, somebody who works for government-related things.
Mm. If the full moon be there, he will enjoy sensual pleasures and will be a scholar, more so if there is an aspect of Venus also.
The full moon and Venus in Swamsha gives all luxuries of life, and an educationist is produced.
So we see both say scholar and pleasures from the moon, and more so if Venus is aspecting.
I have a full moon in the Kārakāṁśa.
You have full moon in the Kārakāṁśa.
If strong Mars is in the Kārakāṁśa, the native will use the weapon of spear, will earn his livelihood through fire, and be an alchemist.
Mars in Swamsha gives expertise in metallurgy, or in arms and warfare, or in matters related to fire.
Do we see how these guys are saying the same thing? Mm-hmm. Parashara has a few extra verses, but that's...
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Parashara.
If strong Mercury is in the Kārakāṁśa, He will be skillful in arts and sculpture and also in trading. Be intelligent and educated.
Mercury in Swamsha gives business acumen and produces a skilled trader or a weaver, sculptor, or one well-versed in social and legal norms.
So Mercury in trines has a lot to do with legal norms, as well as trading. If you notice, Parashar here says strong Mercury. And that goes for everything. A strong planet in that situation will give you good results in that area. If the planet's not strong, it's not going to give you as good of results relative to its significations.
Should Jupiter be in the Kārakāṁśa, the native will do good acts, will have spiritual knowledge and Vedic learning.
Jupiter in Swamsha makes a karma yogi who will excel in any field due to his intelligence, or one interested in philosophy and religion, or a priest.
Karma yogi with Jupiter. Intelligent, interested in philosophy, religious, spiritual, reading spiritual books.
In case Venus be there in the Kārakāṁśa, he will live for 100 years, will be sensual, and will look after state affairs.
Venus in Swamsha indicates a government or political official or a passionate person who is virile up to 100 years.
So Venus makes a person virile up to 100 years. Moon makes a person who is trying to be virile up to 100 years. But Moon is excessive. Yeah. We'll go into that when we get to the 7th house.
Palace, sexual palace.
I also have Jupiter, so.
Yeah.
He also has Jupiter.
That's fine. I also have Jupiter, I'm saying.
That's up to 200 years then.
Yeah.
Okay. So Parashara.
If Saturn be there in the Kārakāṁśa, the native will adopt the profession of his family.
Saturn in Swamsha gives success in any line of activity and consequential fame.
So Saturn in trines makes a person, they can be good at anything. And I found that to be quite troublesome, especially in our culture. Maybe in India it wouldn't be too bad because you learn what your father did and you're good at it and you go on. But in our culture, you have so many opportunities. The person ends up being good at everything and they don't know what to do. They do a little of this, a little of that. They're good at everything, so they can't really settle down into one thing. This is Saturn, a Swamsha Saturn, Saturn in trines. In case Rahu.
In case Rahu there be, the native will be a thief. The native will be a thief, a bowman, a machinery maker, and a doctor treating poisonous afflictions.
Rahu in Swamsha produces a bowman or a thief. He may earn by dacoity as a thief, or by cheating, or may be capable of handling very poisonous and dangerous chemicals, medicines, etc., or an expert in metals manufacturing activities.
So metals and manufacturing, machines. The actual word is loha yantrika. Loha means iron, and yantrika means machines. So it's saying one working with things like iron machines, things made out of metal.
And yantra is a diagram, so that's like a machine as well. In a sense.
On a spiritual sense,
Right.
it's a machine getting us to a certain level.
Yeah.
But yantrika on a more material plane means a car is a yantra.
I see.
A cooking, a pot is a yantra. Anything that you're using as a mechanism to make something else is a yantra.
Computers?
Computers are a yantra. Any type of machine is a yantra.
Any instrument.
Yeah, any instrument. So loha yantra. So someone good with machines is Rahu. Okay.
O Vipra, there is no doubt in it, and if Ketu be there, he will deal in elephants and be a thief.
Ketu in Swamsha indicates one who will earn through elephants, or maybe a thief or a swindler.
Now, with Rahu, most people aren't working on big machines, but I'll ask the person if they've ever made their own jewelry before. A lot of people who have Rahu and trines or Swamsha will make have made their own jewelry, played with jewelry making. This elephants, no one's, who's going to have elephants?
Who's gonna have elephants?
Yeah. Says the person who earns through elephants.
People who do idolatry.
Or like a limousine service. No?
The elephants were used to carry
Truck
big
driver.
things.
Oh.
Movers. Like moving
Yeah,
trucks.
van, moving van.
Trucks, vans, people, delivery people, trains are connected to K2.
Airplanes could be them too, right?
Airplanes have a K2 sun connection, so the sun has to be involved to get it to fly. So we have to interpret this into the modern context, what the elephant represented. Okay, everybody seeing the similarity between these two texts? Have you seen them disagree yet? Have you seen different types of astrology coming from these two books yet?
No.
Have you seen any differences yet?
Really?
Okay. And we're doing this just so that you have this knowledge in your head. So that no one's telling you what the books have. There's more. There are places where they're different, or else we wouldn't need both. But there's so many places where they're similar concept back and forth. Okay. So
we're applying this to the Lagna and the trines and quadrants.
see, we got to get real flexible with this. And it's hard for me to just sit here and give you the straight rule. You got to understand the energy of the thing. Rahu, what's the energy? Rahu's giving something to work with metals. And when we're in the Navamsha, we're using trines. So from Navamsha Lagna, it shows the abilities that you were born with. But the trine from that is the 5th house.
Right.
It's what you've learned how to do. It's the abilities that you've learned. The 9th house are the abilities that you're learning, that you've been taught. So the whole trine is going to show you. And the same from Kārakāṁśa. It's going to show you the desires that you have, the desires that you've learned to have, the desires that other people have taught you to have. Okay? So I'm saying Navamsha, I'm also saying trines, because the desire or the ability will be there in the Swamsha or its trines. But it'll be in the trines differently than the actual Swamsha itself. But the actual result of that planet will be the same. The desire of that planet will be the same. Are you understanding? We have to be flexible though, and understand what is K2 showing. And then where it's placed, we interpret it accordingly. Just like the Swamsha. He just says Swamsha, or Kārakāṁśa. But in one verse he says, everything from Aruda you can also see from Kārakāṁśa. Everything from Kārakāṁśa you can also see from Aruda. Parashara says this. And Janmani says it. So with that, if you can see both from each, then what if one has one planet, one has the opposite planet? We have to be able to see the difference and understand what the difference is between them, but they're still showing what they're representing. For example, Rahu, 5th from Navamsha Lagna, shows somebody who's good working with metals, good working with machines. But what if Jupiter is 5th from their Kārakāṁśa? They desire to be working with spiritual knowledge and learning and that kind of stuff, but what they're good at is working on machines and fixing cars. We look at the Aruda Lagna, what's connected to the Aruda Lagna? Is Jupiter connected to it, or is Rahu connected to it? Are they going to be out there fulfilling their soul desires, or are they going to be out there fulfilling their abilities? They might start fulfilling their soul desires and not be good at it. I know quite a few astrologers who write all kinds of books that are terrible. They're fulfilling their soul desires, I'm sure, but their Navamsha Lagna's not supporting it. And then you got some incredible astrologers, they're not writing books. So, but do you see how we're utilizing it in many different facets, turning it all around? It's what do they call those things? A little piece?
Gyroscope?
No, there's a little piece that makes a hologram.
Hologram, right.
All these little pieces, they're holograms. They're little pieces that all fit together. And they have similar story, but they're different pieces. So if we understand what Rahu represents, then it's just a matter of seeing it from the different points and understanding what the different points represent. But we have to understand Rahu. We have to understand Ketu. We have to understand all the other planets. What makes them a good writer? What makes them desire to be a good writer? What makes them known and famous as a writer?
So Kārakāṁśa always indicates desire. It's
The
only
soul, what the soul wants.
what the soul desires.
What the soul wants. Why are you incarnated?
Mm.
What you took incarnation for?
And we look
What
at
you're
the,
trying to achieve.
and we look at the Rashi for that piece of information, or also the Bhava in which the Kārakāṁśa falls.
For
For the Navamsha.
for Navamsha Lagna and Kārakāṁśa, both are in Navamsha. For Aruda Lagna, we're looking in the Rashi.
For Aruna Lagna, okay.
For Rashi.
So, but for instance, if the Kārakāṁśa...
If it ends with Amsha, then 99% of the chance we are looking in the Navamsha.
Right. But I
Okay.
guess my question was to get the quality
Uh-huh.
of that soul desire.
Yeah.
Do we look at the sign, the Rashi,
Everything,
in which
yeah.
the and the Bhava as well?
Of the Navamsha.
Yeah, let's say the Kārakāṁśa is in a Dusthana house.
Uh-huh.
So we'll get the soul desire of that person in the meanings of that.
If it's in a Dusthana, the person will be afflicted getting their soul's desire.
Uh-huh.
You mean the Dushtana in the Rashi or the
In the
Vivana?
in the Navamsha.
Navamsha.
See, I have an 8th house Venus, 8th house Kārakāṁśa.
Right.
I wanted to throw it all away. I can't throw it all away. I can't throw it all away. I want to throw it all away. Like,
Right.
what's the, you know.
So that's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to clarify, because I am a Kārakāṁśa
Uh-huh.
in the 8th.
In the
and it's
8th house,
moon.
it just causes a lot of suffering getting
So
our
it's
soul's
suffering
desire.
in getting your desires, but it does not mean that your desires belong to the 8th house meaning.
Little bit.
Little bit, but not necessarily
We're-
all.
the houses are a little different in the Navamsha, so
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Okay.
So mine's in the
You can-
12th. Would that
You
be-
can take that Kārakāṁśa back into the Rashi. Look at that sign
Mhm.
and take it back into the Rashi,
Mhm.
and that'll
that,
tell you a little bit more too.
and that would tell you where
A
your
little
soul's
bit more.
desire is in.
That's a whole other class.
Okay.
So
Kārakāṁśa is the other
that's the whole
Yes.
Rasi
Yes,
Tulya
that's right, in the
Navamsha
Navamsha.
concept.
Okay.
So if you want to go more into that, it's called Rashi Tulya Navamsha. And Zoran taught a beautiful paper on that in Puri a few years back and has taught lots on it. And he uses that technique more than anybody else that
What's
I
it
know.
called? Rashi?
Rashi
Oh, is that what you
Tulya
put the
Navamsha.
name on
Tulya?
You're you're going back and forth.
T-U?
L-I-A.
Is there a paper is it online?
Tulya.
I don't know.
I think so. I
No.
downloaded it.
Yeah.
On
But-
Zoran's website?
I don't know. Let's focus on Kārakāṁśa then,
Okay.
or else we'll never get through this.
Yes.